Hello and welcome. This is Michele Christensen of OneNote Worthy Life, and this is a Plan With Me video for May of 2020. I'm using OneNote for Windows 10, and I'm going to walk you through how I evaluate the past month and set new goals and plans for the upcoming month. As usual for my Plan With Me videos, I've already done this process, so this will be more of a walkthrough. The reason I film after doing my own process is so that I can really take my time and think about things and make some good decisions, and then I can give you a concise overview. And as you'll see, most of the pages I use are pretty simple, so there's not much to show in the way of OneNote tutorials or tips. So, wow, let me start by just acknowledging what an incredibly strange time we've been going through. I live in California, and we've been pretty well locked down since mid-March, and things are beginning to open up in tiny steps, which I feel optimistic about, and it is forward motion. But one of the things that's been hard for me is just the uncertainty of this whole thing we're going through. We have no idea when things will be normal again, what normal will look like, or how we'll get there, and, all that. So that's been difficult for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people too. So let's get into the video. The first thing I do is evaluate my goals for the last month, which in this case is April. So I set up a page with my goals on it, and then the black text is the original, and then I use whatever color I feel like it to just note that that's the commentary or the outcome. The color doesn't mean anything other than, it's just what I felt like using. So I do most of my evaluation at the end of the month, but I do make notes and comments and stuff as I go through. So this page shows my goals for OneNote Worthy Life, which is my YouTube channel and blog. So the first goal was to stick to my editorial calendar, and this has been my goal for the last few months, not only to get my videos published on the schedule I set, but also all the things that go before and after, and in addition to publishing videos. And April did not go well. I've been working on this for a while and doing much better, but I missed a lot of my milestones in April. And I had kind of a hard time with this whole situation going on, and I'll talk more about that later in the video. Short story is, I'm fine, I'm okay. The second goal I had was to get my next Take Note chat schedule. If you're new here, if you haven't heard of this, I host a monthly live chat here on YouTube where I host someone and we talk about a specific use of OneNote or a feature or an interesting way to handle something using OneNote. And I was on hiatus for a bit, so I've been working on getting that next guest booked, and I'm pleased to say that I have a guest who has confirmed for June. I don't have any details yet, but I will keep you posted, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you get notified when that happens. I also wanted to make a plan for having ways to reach out to people that I think would make good guests, and then ways to cast, like to do a bigger announcement like I'm doing now, where I let people know I'm looking for guests. So I did some organizing, created some different checklists and notes and things like that, so that I'm ready to keep track of people as we move through this process. And I've organized the contacts, my process, and all that. And I've made also some plans for how I'm going to do those bigger reach outs. And that reminds me of, I do want to just mention that I do regularly look for guests to have on my Take Note chat. So there'll be a link to the Take Note chat playlist, as well as a link for potential speakers. So if you know someone that would make a great speaker, or you yourself would like to be a speaker, go ahead and click that link for some more information, and that'll tell you everything you need to know to get the process started. So let's move on to April's personal goals. So for the past few months, I have been working on having a goal for my calories, and this is how much I undereat by. I do weigh a little bit more than I should right now, and so I'm actively working to lose that extra weight. So I try and eat like in a calorie deficit, or eat less than I burn every day. So I did not hit my April goal, but I actually started to lose weight much faster than I feel like is healthy for me, so I'm okay with not hitting my goal. I've had to change my workout routine since we're under a stay-at-home order and all the gyms and fitness studios are closed, and so I think that has to do with why I started to lose weight really quickly. So I'm going to be changing that calorie goal for May. I have just found that for me, rapid weight loss does not lead to long-term success. So I'd rather go, keep it slow and steady. So my next goal has to do with the theme of being ready. So this is my theme for 2019 and now for 2020 and probably beyond. I have a link to a playlist in the description where I show what that means for me and how I plan to achieve it. In short, I've created a whole bunch of areas of my life and small things that I can do that will add up to me living my life in a state of feeling more ready to take on unexpected opportunities or challenges. I did really good on doing most of my daily habits most day. Well, that was my goal for April, was to do my daily habits. And I did pretty good on that. Like, I've been really doing those daily habits most days, and it's paying off. With the more time we're spending at home, it feels really good to have my home a little bit more organized and clean and kind of less chaotic. So I plan on continuing to do that because it's paying off and it's working really well for me. So the next goal I had was to work on our security system. So if you haven't heard me talk about this, my husband and I are we're do-it-yourselfers for a lot of things, and we live in an older kind of a fixer-upper house, so we're always working on projects around the house. One of the projects we have in process is installing our security system, and so we had begun work on the next section of it. One part of it's already done. We're working on the next section, and I'm kind of deliberately being vague about this because I don't want to share details about our security system online. So we made a small amount of progress. We selected and ordered and actually received the next set of lights and cameras we're putting in, so that felt pretty good. Didn't get them installed. That might happen in May, depending on how things unfold. The next goal I had was to finish the air conditioning project. So in March, we made a decision to upgrade the HVAC. That stands for heat, ventilation, and air conditioning in our house. Our old system was really energy inefficient, out of date, and that kind of thing. So we made a plan and jumped on it. But if you've ever done a big project in your house, it leaves you with a ton of little tiny things to do afterwards. So I have like all those little tiny things to do, and I made some progress in March, but with the way things are, everything's taking longer. It takes longer to get supplies, and it takes longer to get paperwork done and all that. So I'm moving ahead, making progress, and I'm just going to try and keep moving forward with that. So the next thing on my April goals was to have our tax data ready to file. Normally in the US, our tax deadline is in the middle of April, and that's what I was planning for. But before that deadline came up, we got notified that we wouldn't have to file until July, so I didn't bother to rush it. What I did work on is the software I use to manage our finances was going to be making a big change at the end of April, so I wanted to make sure I had everything ready for that and backed up and all that, so I hit that goal, and that felt great. So the final goal I had was to kind of get ourselves and our home ready for the duration of the stay-at-home order. Even now, we don't know how long these orders are going to last, and so I knew I wanted to do some things that would make it more comfortable and easier to handle. And so I had things like creating an entry station, making sure I had hand sanitizer, and I'm just using high percentage rubbing alcohol for that, and things like wipes and face covers and all that. So we got the basics of a system set up. It's working great, and that is also a work in process. Like, as I'm noticing something that we need to do, I'm making a point to add that. So the next section is called What Else? And this is just a free-form section for notes or things that came up, good, bad, or indifferent, things that impacted the way the month unfolds. So I just was notified of this, that you're supposed to be cars don't do well when they sit a lot, so my car has been sitting a lot, and I'm only taking it for very short trips to the grocery store. So I'm not sure how to handle that, but I've heard that, your battery can go dead and other things about your car can go wrong, so I want to look into that and make some sort of a plan. The next thing was a note I made about that life is more like taxing or difficult during a pandemic. It seems like we should have a lot of time, but I just don't. And that was unexpected. Like, I didn't expect just sort of the situation at large to be so like taxing and overwhelming and feel like very heavy, even though I haven't personally been impacted by the illness myself. So that was just kind of a note. Um, Along the lines of creating a system for all of the new things we have to do, I want to create a better system for storing our clean masks. I also want to work on this is a green, which is my color coding for work, not to be confused with the green you saw earlier. But there's a project I'm working on for the fall. I'm not deliberately trying to be vague or mysterious, but it's something I just don't have enough details that I feel comfortable confirming publicly yet, but I will let you know as soon as I do have that, and I'm ready to get started on that. So the last thing I want to talk about was that I kind of had a hard crash at the end of April. And just short story, I'm fine. Everyone in my immediate family is fine. I haven't been ill. This was more like just a point of exhaustion. Like a lot of people, when we first got our stay-at-home order, I kind of jumped on that productivity bandwagon, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be such a great opportunity to get a ton of things done. And for the first few weeks, that worked great. But then just this crash happened for me toward the end of April. It was a couple of weeks. And it wasn't only that I was just working too hard, pushing too much, doing too much. There was also just emotional overwhelm of watching the situation around me and feeling people's sadness and just feelings of fear and uncertainty and just watching people suffer and things like that. It was just really tough for me. So again, just to be clear, nothing serious happened to me or anyone in my immediate family, but I was just exhausted and really foggy for a few weeks. And to be honest, I feel a little bit self-indulgent even admitting that this happened or talking about it, because I know that so many people have it so much worse than I do. But I also feel like it's important to be honest and not act like everything is great in my life all the time, especially with all this stuff going on. And I know it's helpful for me when the people I watch on YouTube share that they're going through something difficult. So I just wanted to be, honest about that. I am doing a lot better right now, and I've kind of created a simple wellness plan that will help me to stay feeling better. So now that I've looked at my what else page, I want to take a look at my April annual plan. This is what I thought I would be doing in April at the beginning of the year, and needless to say, nothing went as planned. I was planning on taking a trip to the East Coast to see my family. Yeah, that didn't work out. And then I was also planning on filing my taxes, and that one was a deliberate postponement because we just don't need to rush to get that done. So the last thing I want to show you for April is my April calendar. And as you can see, I don't keep appointments or anything on here. This is just a personal practice that I do where I write down one good thing that happened each day. And if you watched last month's plan with me, I did the beginning of the month and then I stopped doing it. That was in March. I was just kind of really overwhelmed and, I just didn't do it. So I wanted to make sure to do this for April. It felt important, and that it's an important part of my well-being, and it really takes just a few seconds. If I'm on my keyboard, I'll type it. If I'm on a tablet, I'll write it. So now with all that done, I'm ready to go set up May. So the first thing I start with is my annual plan and last month's goals. So my May annual plan also is not happening. I was supposed to make a trip to see a family member's college graduation, but yeah, that isn't happening. And unfortunately, there wasn't even a virtual graduation, so hopefully we'll get a chance to celebrate at some point. So my May goals for One Noteworthy Life is to follow my editorial schedule. Now, I am going to make it more realistic for being in quarantine and stay at home and all that stuff, because I felt like I was just way too ambitious with it for April. For my Take Note chat, I want to continue to move forward with June's chat and really try and make that happen in June. And I want to continue moving forward with reaching out to people, following up with people, keeping track of who and when I've reached out and that kind of thing. And I am getting started on that fall project. I will give you details as soon as I have them. So my May personal goals, again, building on last month's, I have a calorie goal. I'm just going to go for negative 400 this month. And then under the category of be ready, I'm going to continue to focus on all of those daily habits, just the little things I do every day. Just for the reason I said before, it kind of helps that my house feels like it's in order and that I'm on top of things during this whole stay-at-home order and all the stuff that's going on. So, as I mentioned, we did this big HVAC upgrade, and I want to try and continue to work on those little things and get them done hopefully before summer. And then the goal with the security system is get that next equipment installed. And then the final thing I want to show you is the May calendar. You can see I'm filming this a little ways into May, so there's some of this already filled in. And that's it. We've now evaluated April, set up for May, and I am ready to go, hoping to have a good but kind of more mellow month. So April was a really difficult and unpredictable month for everyone, and I'm sure there's just a lot more on the horizon that we don't see coming. But I do want to take this opportunity to encourage you, as I do at the end of every Plan With Me video, to try and make some sort of plan, follow it, and then evaluate it. Even if you end up way off course and don't do anything on your plan, there's still value in doing this. And for me, during this time, it's actually helped me to feel a little bit more certain about the things I can be certain about. And given that there's so much we can't be certain about at this time, it has helped me to feel a little bit more grounded. If you're just getting started with any sort of goal setting or planning process, I do suggest that you do this in very small increments. Start with something really small and simple, and just see how you can do, and go really easy on yourself. This is just an unprecedented time we're living in right now. So if you have any questions or comments or something you want to see in more detail, leave a comment on this video and I'll do my best to answer you. If you want to see more videos like this, as well as OneNote tutorials, please do subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and let me know you like this by hitting the thumbs up button. Have a great day. Bye-bye.